Hello and welcome back to another Night Owl edition of True Crime Metrix. I'm your host, J. Edgar Hoover, coming at you live from the basement of the secret volcano underlayer. With us as always is resident sound controlist, a Labrador called Soap, who is the same color as a chocolate cake and 3 times as huge. Yes, tonight Soap has her finger on the button, but not the cough button, because we do not currently have one installed. We just signed today for another shipment of our custom Italian marble that we got for the wholly discounted price from the Vatican City yard sale. Yes, Pope Francis II sends blessings to one and all, no matter your faith, denomination, or creed. Our sound controlist tells us that if we install any more of this Italian custom marble into our broadcast studio, we will be creating nothing more than a chamber of echoes. Special guests on the show tonight include, but aren't limited to, Sebastian the Crab from everyone's favorite underwater movie, The Little Mermaid. Joining us too is the Big Blue Genie from Aladdin, played by the late, great Robin Williams. We did receive a correspondence from Grandmother Willow's media team that said, although she would have loved to have appeared on the show this evening, her current situation does not allow for her to be uprooted. We hope you join all of the team at True Crime Metrix in wishing Grandmother Willow a speedy, smooth recovery back to perfect health. Okay. Welcome, friends. Nice to see so many of you popping up in the chat right as we pop back on to YouTube. It's been a few days, but we will be concluding our coverage of Mr. Hand Grenade himself. Look at him there. Isn't he great? I mean, 100%, guys. I would prefer this guy to represent me than I would Daniel Rashbaum. I just think I'd get along with him better. And that goes a long way in a defense. Anyway, I was just checking out the Instagram of Mr. Hand Grenade. And can you guys see that? Yeah, so this is his page, which is... Okay, so he's selling a costume of himself. And as you can see from the packaging, this includes swagger, a guilty client, sword for client to fall on. Yeah, okay, sword for client to fall on for equally guilty co-defendant baby mama. The whole fucking story about Adelson guilt, but hands tied to tell it, a hot wife, thirst traps, and saucy sidebars. Okay, so I'm assuming that he's made this himself and posted it onto his own page. So that's an interesting nugget that I thought I'd share with y'all. Anyway, as we allow the dog to finish her evening meal, which she's had a good 2.5 hours to do, but of course chose to do as the attention grabber that she is, right as we begin our this evening's broadcast. So are you fed? Are you watered? Can you go back to the mixing desk and check the levels, please? Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2. Without further ado, roll tape, please.
It was your testimony yesterday that I believe you said because you're not going to kill somebody because he has kids and that you don't know the man. Something like that, but you recall saying that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And based on that statement that you guys called off the purpose of your trip and left Tallahassee, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's your testimony that you were the driving force behind calling this off and leaving Tallahassee?
Well, it was nothing to do with, nothing to be around there for, so we left.
Okay, so let me ask a few questions about that. You indicated that Mr. Garcia had been paid and you saw cash in his pocket, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you said it was between $2,000 and $5,000, right?
Yes, sir.
And you got there on June 4th in the morning, right?
Yes, sir.
And between June 4th in the morning and what time did you guys leave on the 5th?
I don't remember the time.
Roughly. What, was
I
it
don't remember the
nighttime?
time, sir.
Was it nighttime?
I don't remember the time.
Okay. Do you remember if it was light or dark outside?
I can't remember.
Whose idea was it to leave?
Both of us.
According to you, had Mr. Garcia run through all the money that he'd bought?
Yeah, we was low on cash.
Okay. And you also said that he'd given you some money from his pocket, correct?
Yes, sir.
You'd also said that you had bought your own a substantial amount of narcotics during the trip, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you also said that Mr. Garcia had purchased additional narcotics, correct?
Yes, sir.
How much money would you say that he had spent on narcotics?
Ain't no telling right now. It's been a long time.
Okay, well,
Can't remember.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Mr. Rivera, can you guesstimate?
I said, ain't no telling. I can't remember how much money we spent, but we spent money.
Okay, well, what's your definition of money on cocaine?
Go ahead. $200.
Okay. So as someone that has experience in the drug trade, right?
Yes.
$200 or $300 would be maybe another 8-ball, right?
Maybe like 2 or 3.
2 or 3 more 8-balls. So you're at about 50.
Is that really how much coke costs in the States? Because that's pretty cheap. 3 8-balls for $300? Come on. You can't get coke for that much, for that cheap. That's ridiculous.
15 grams of cocaine for a 36-hour trip, according to you, right?
Probably.
So $200 to $300 on drugs. How much was the room? $100?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay. Does that sound about right? Let's be very generous. Let's say $100.
I can't tell you. I don't remember.
All right. It was a motel though, right? It wasn't the W or a 5-star hotel.
There's a hotel. It can be one night for $60, but 2 nights can be $120.
And you guys stayed there one night, right? June 4th. And you left June 5th, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So one night at a hotel, let's say.
It was definitely a hotel where they had an owl in the parking lot. I remember from my Instagram post.
Between 50 and $100. Sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you guys ate at Hooters, right?
Yes, sir.
Ate and drank at Hooters.
Well, they ate at Hooters. Yeah, we ate at an owl-themed restaurant. In fact, the whole trip, we were owl spotting up and down. I mean, you know, he said, where do you want to go to eat? And I said, well, it's obviously got to be a place where the logo has an owl on it. This is an owl trip.
You didn't want to be seen, correct?
Hey, some feedback on the audio levels, guys. The sound controller is taking a snooze right now. So how's the levels? Is my voice the same level as the video? Because that's what we're aiming for. We're going for quality gear this time around, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you went to a known restaurant, right?
Yes, sir.
And you said that you guys were there for multiple hours, correct?
Yes, sir.
Were you wearing a hat?
Yes, sir.
You were wearing a hat?
Yes, sir.
He wasn't just wearing a hat. He was in a full owl costume, like for Halloween, feathers and everything, you know. He sat down at the table and just said, "Hoo, hoo, hoo."
Were you wearing sunglasses?
I don't remember.
You didn't have the mask on at Hooters, did you?
No.
No, right? Okay.
No, he had to take the mask off to eat.
So in public, being seen in Tallahassee for multiple hours, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You and Mr. Garcia have purchased and consumed, according to you, multiple ounces, I mean, almost a dozen, I'm sorry, multiple grams of cocaine, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're, I assume, drinking substantially at this point, correct?
Yes.
After you
Man, that's what you want from two pro hitmen, isn't it? You know, take a trip up, go to Hooters, get completely wasted on the way on 3 ounces of coke, and then get completely sloshed up the yin yang in a titty bar the night before the hit. Yeah, we thought we should better pay a professional for this one.
you leave Hooters, where do you go? Back to the room?
Yeah.
Now, what time in the morning do you leave to start your surveillance the next day?
That Friday?
I'm sorry?
And on the murder day?
No, we're talking about the June trip today, sir.
All right.
What time do you leave?
In the morning,
Yes, sir. What time? Do you remember?
like 7 or 8 around there.
Was this, had you checked out of the hotel when you left in the morning?
I don't remember.
Did you remember, checkout's usually around 11 a.m., right?
Yes, sir.
So that morning, you'll agree with me that you hadn't decided whether or not anything was going to happen that day, right? Your plan was you were going to go kill Dan Markel that day, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you had planned to go commit this murder, and you weren't sure whether or not it was going to happen, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So did you check out of the hotel, or did you keep the hotel for another day?
I can't remember if we checked out or not. I cannot remember.
Okay. So then you drive over to Mr. Markel's house, correct?
Yes, sir.
To the area, and you conducted surveillance, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you followed him to the daycare center, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then you lost him, right?
Yes.
Did you conduct any additional surveillance that day, or did you call it quits?
I don't know if we were in the, okay, I can't remember.
You indicated to the jury on direct examination that it appeared that on that second day that you felt that this was the wrong thing to do, and you didn't want to be involved in killing somebody that you didn't know, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you'll also agree with me that you realized that Mr. Garcia, according to your testimony, wanted you to be the shooter in this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
And as a result of that, you were going to be paid $35,000, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you were actually paid $37,000, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you were paid more than you were originally told, right?
Yes, sir.
And as we indicated yesterday, your testimony is that you didn't do the job that you were hired to do. You simply were, in essence, like a chauffeur, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you on Are you on any medication right now?
No, sir.
None?
Not at all.
Were you on any prescribed medication at the time of the June?
He's not on medication, but he's probably still wasted from the 3 ounces of coke he did on a 36-hour drive to Tallahassee and back. I mean, I think even if he didn't have the murder plot, going on, the plan and the assassination in mind, and he did 3 ounces of coke, he could have still ended up in Tallahassee, just walking. He thinks he's still there at Hooters. He's about to order.
For the July trip.
No, sir.
Give me 1 second.
Good night.
Have you ever been diagnosed as being bipolar?
Yes, sir.
What about schizophrenic?
Yes, sir.
On the June 5th surveillance that you conducted of Dan Markel, when you said he went to the daycare, did you see him drop the kids off at the daycare?
Yes, sir.
And so he was alone at that time, correct? Because you saw him drop off the kids?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Just to let everyone know, I guess this video today is going to be a little dry for a while because Mr. Hand Grenade is saying nothing. I mean, I don't know what his tactics are at all. This is the most important witness of his case for his client, Sigfredo Garcia. And there's just not many places he can go with it. He's getting to the point where he's going to start painting the picture of that Luis Rivera was selling cocaine to Charles Adelson, and that Charles Adelson hired Luis Rivera to do the hit alone, and now Luis, or with another Latin king, and that Luis Rivera has lied and pointed the finger at his client. But it's like just a huge ocean away from anything that the jury is going to believe. I mean, what else could he say? He's being forced to do this because, he can't get his client to flip against Luis Rivera because then his life would be worth shit in jail. I mean, you have to feel for him, but there's not too much that we can talk about and point out. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves, guys, in the comments, because it's a little while yet. Hopefully we're going to wrap up Mr. Hand Grenade tonight, and we will do, and then we won't have to see him again for a while. We might have a look at his closing argument for this 2019 trial, because I think that's about his best thing. He had a pretty good opening, actually. So maybe we'll have a look at Mr. Hand Grenade and throw this guy a bone, because on this witness, the most important witness for his case, I mean, he drops the ball, but really, there's no ball to pick up here. So
you indicated that after you called off the purpose of your trip, you drove back to Miami, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it's been your testimony that from June 5th, because that's when you got back to Miami, right? June 5th, the next day?
Yes, sir.
The next night? June 5th, that there was no communication or no discussion with you and Mr. Garcia about anything else until, I believe, the 14th of July?
Yes, sir.
Would it be a fair statement to make that you made it clear, according to your testimony, that you did not want to participate in this job to Mr. Garcia, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then during your direct examination, actually, you kind of went to substantial detail to tell the members of the jury how you felt that this was an inappropriate thing to do, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yet when Mr. Garcia, according to your testimony, calls you, you go rent a car immediately, right?
Yes, sir.
You didn't tell him, oh man, don't you remember what I told you June 5th? I don't want to be down with this, right? You didn't say that, did you?
No, that's my best friend.
Okay, well, but he was also your best friend on June 5th, right?
Until I'm dead, I'm gone, I guess.
Right, so he was your best friend on June 5th as well, the same day that you said, no, I don't want to do this, and in essence, you guys left, right?
Yes, sir.
5 weeks later, he tells you, let's ride, and you immediately go and rent a car in your name, yes?
Yes, sir, I did.
How many guns did you take the second time up?
One.
One, correct?
Talking about for the murder?
Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure where we at.
I'm sorry?
I just want to make sure where we at.
So you'll agree with me that on the trip, on the June trip, you were extremely cautious about not leaving any kind of fingerprint, okay, or any kind of trace that you were in Tallahassee, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yet on this second trip, you rented a car, right?
Yes, sir.
And whose name did you rent the car in?
My name.
Whose hotel did you rent the hotel room in?
This is my name on it, right?
Were you taking your medication on that day? No, you weren't, right? You weren't taking any medication that
Not
day?
at all. Just cocaine.
So you consider cocaine to be medication?
Just medication.
Have you been taking cocaine for medication for a long time?
I've been doing cocaine since the age of 15 years old, sir.
And how old are you now?
36.
Would you say that you do cocaine on a daily basis or did cocaine on a daily basis?
No, once in a blue. Not like that. Not every day.
When you say once in a blue, well, what does that mean?
Maybe on a weekend, maybe in a party.
So 50 times, well, let's just be conservative. Once a week there's 52 weeks in a year, correct?
Yes.
Right?
I
I mean,
guess.
that's not a trick question. There's 52 weeks in a year. You're aware of that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're saying that you did cocaine once a week, so that's 50 times a year, right?
Yes, sir.
For 20 years?
Yeah, I'm 36.
Okay. So about 1,000 times?
Maybe, yeah.
Now, have you ever testified that you believe, well, who do you believe convinced Mr. Garcia to take this job?
His wife, Katie.
Have you ever said that one of the reasons that Mr. Garcia participated in this murder for hire was that Katie McBanoa indicated that she would get back together with him if he did so?
Have I ever said that? I don't remember.
Do you remember giving a recorded statement to law enforcement on October 4th, 2016?
Yeah.
And during that time, as we indicated yesterday, you were accompanied by your attorney, correct?
Yes, sir.
As well as Detective Isom and Special Investigator Stanford, correct?
It's General Isom.
Can we close that door?
You need to turn it off.
Did you all hear the released sidebars, recorded audio sidebars from Mentor Lawyer's channel from the Charles Adelson case? That was pretty interesting and funny. I didn't even know that was legal to release those. That's you get a really different view of the relationship between the lawyers, what the judge thinks of the lawyers, when these little private meetings, sidebar meetings. It's I'd never heard any from any case before, but they're all on Mentor Lawyer's channel, whatever that's called. What is it called? Well, he's got one called Mentor Lawyer, and then there's another one with a different name. I think that's Sigfredo's appellate lawyer there. He's like, listen, book the month. Well, I'm going down. This is over. So we're going to be filing an appeal for sure. I had hope, but then my lawyer said something, and yeah, Daniel Rashbaum, he's like, oh, don't talk about the sex stuff. God, can you imagine this sex stuff of Charlie's when he's getting people to hide his sex toys so his parents don't find them? I mean, that's your concern, really? I mean, maybe it would be a concern, but maybe he should have thought of that. I don't know. It's just yeah, I'm kind of glad that they don't go into too much details about Charlie Adelson's sex life, because I don't think it would be a pretty picture. Oh, Katie's writing something on a yellow legal pad. That looks serious. Doesn't that spell well-adjusted, educated mother of two, falsely accused? Yeah, she's writing down a good segment to pick up on in her lawyer's cross. Just love the way Georgia Kappelman moves back to her chair. It's like when you see a really big animal at the zoo, like a lion or something, and they're just moving around like, this is my space and I own it. Georgia does the same thing when she gets back into her chair. Let's just see that again. Look at it. Solid as a rock.
May I continue, Judge?
You may.
Thank you. So it's your testimony today, sir, that you don't recall whether or not you
We're not
indicated.
going to repeat his testimony over and over again. Ms. Zengeneh, move on.
Will you agree with me that you believe that Ms. Bagmanoa was a driving force in convincing Mr. Garcia to commit this murder? That's
Yes,
that's
sir.
your testimony,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
It was also your testimony yesterday that immediately.
Why is he saying that? That is directly showing motive for his client to be involved. I mean, I think half of Mr. Hand Grenade's cross of Rivera serves against his purpose. It's awful. It's really, really bad what he's doing. It's just, I think he's a bit nervous. He knows that this is the biggest case of his career. Surely is, because his Instagram page, it's all he talks about. Every picture's like Adelson case, Adelson case. I'm surprised he hasn't just resigned, what do you call it? Resign from the Florida bar and written a book like Jodi Arias's attorney. Trapped with Jodi Arias. That's the name of the book. I've got to get a copy of that. Yeah.
After the purported, after you committed the murder, that Mr. Garcia called Miss Magbanua, correct?
That he called her?
Well, that's the first call he made after the murder, right?
That was the first call.
Okay. And you actually testified that while he was sitting next to you in the Prius, you could hear the conversation, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And during that conversation, I believe your testimony was something to the effect is it's done, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then it was followed up with, we're getting our money the next day, correct?
Yes, sir.
Nothing about, he didn't say anything to the effect of, you didn't hear, I did it, we're going to be back together now, right?
No.
No. He didn't tell Katie, listen, I did what you asked me to do. I want to be back together with you, correct?
Not at all. So he hung up the phone and that's it.
Right. And the only contents of the conversation was with regards to money, right?
Yes, sir.
And you'll agree with me that prior to that, you indicated the driving force behind this was him getting back together with Katie, right?
Repeat that question again?
Sure, no problem. I just asked you, wasn't she extremely influential in having him do this, correct?
Yes, sir.
You also, and you'll agree with me that you believe that Ms. Magbanua was extremely influential in decisions with regards to Mr. Garcia, correct?
Yes, sir.
My client was crazy about Ms. Magbanua, correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
In love with her.
He still is.
You'll also agree with me that at the time of this situation, Ms. Magbanua wasn't dating my client.
No, not at all.
She was
They were
dating
They were on and off.
on and off. But at the time that this took place, who was
Hey, C. Malone. Yeah, we would love it if Fancy Fiction came and started commenting on this channel. I mean, that would really, really be a call for us to up our game here, because yeah, that would be an achievement. To attract the queen of this case, that would be even better than our 500 subscriber milestone that we just crossed, guys. Channels in review by YouTube, whatever that means, but it does mean that soon we're going to be having like those t-shirts that everyone keeps asking for and other stuff. I don't know what it means yet. We're pretty new, but it's certainly a milestone. I think we're at 501 subscribers now, which is the same quality as a great pair of jeans.
she dating?
The dentist.
You keep calling him the dentist. You know his name though, right?
Yeah, I just found out. Charlie.
Charlie. Now,
Okay, guys. I think we're about ready to get into the Mr. Hand Grenade big play here. Charlie, you just found out his name? You weren't dealing him drugs? And he hired you with another Latin king, and my client had nothing to do with it. That wasn't what you meant?
there was a time where you were with Mr. Garcia and you went to a restaurant in Brickell, right?
Yes, sir.
And it was at this time where you saw Ms. Magbanua with Dr. Adelson, correct? Charlie Adelson, the dentist.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever testified that you'd never seen Charlie Adelson?
I ain't never seen him a day in my life. That day we went to the restaurant, I seen Katie. I don't know who he was.
As someone that, well, let me ask you this question. As someone that is,
Thanks, Leslie B. We're so happy. happened real quick. That algorithm just said, hey, let's throw this guy a bone, man.
Participant, someone that deals drugs. You don't deal drugs on the corner, correct? You deal drugs to people that you know, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Did you know Katie McManus?
Yes, sir.
Were you aware that?
Okay, C. Malone says, is there any chance that maybe, just maybe, Wendy and Luis had a quick fling? Unlikely, but maybe? Well, I don't think so, man. That's a long shot. But how and when and why would that happen? I mean, is it possible? Sure. But, there's zero of all the speculation that could happen. That's just like saying, is it possible that Luis Rivera has been to outer space? Maybe, but probably not.
That Mr. Garcia was unhappy with the fact that she was dating Charlie Adelson?
Of course he was.
Would you say that Mr. Garcia liked Dr. Adelson?
Like him?
Right.
No.
Would you say that would probably be the opposite, that he disliked him?
Yeah, he disliked that man.
He disliked that man.
Yeah, just like he didn't like that man.
Right. He didn't like him. He was angry with him, right?
Yes, sir. Anybody with having a relationship, right?
Correct. But I'm talking about Mr. Garcia.
Yes, sir.
Would it be fair to say that he was unhappy with her relationship with the dentist, correct?
Yes, sir.
With Dr. Adelson, correct? Charlie
Yes, sir.
Adelson, right?
Yes, sir.
Would it be fair to say that you'd be able to see the anger in his face, correct?
Of course.
You would see that he would be sad, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yet it's your testimony that Mr. Garcia agreed to do an act that the Adelsons wanted, right?
Yes, sir.
Judge, can I get a minute?
No.
Oh, thanks for letting us know, Christine. Glad to have you here.
It's your testimony that you'd never seen Charlie Adelson, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you would deny selling drugs to Charlie Adelson?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you ever sell drugs to Charlie Adelson?
Sustained. The objection. Sustained.
Can we approach sidebar, Judge?
Move on.
Usually, as we saw in the case of Darrell Brooks with Judge Jennifer Doro, I mean, that's a bit of a special case, but, just in general, I think a judge is pretty careful about presuming objections or giving lawyers a hard time to not give them too much ammunition for appeal so that they could say the judge was being biased and unfair, right? This judge doesn't give a damn, man. He just doesn't care. He's just like, okay, move on. We're not going to sit here and ask the same question twice. I think he knows exactly what kind of lawyer Mr. Hand Grenade is, and it's just like, okay, you're not going to do these theatrics in my courtroom, man. You've proven to me that you don't understand basic law. Okay, so skip all this like song and dance material and just get to your point or sit down. And the sooner the better, man.
Have third parties ever elicited you to purchase narcotics for other people?
Objection.
Sustained.
You're aware that Mr. Garcia was involved in a motorcycle accident, correct?
Yes, sir.
You're also aware that he received a settlement as a result of this motorcycle accident, correct?
A settlement?
A settlement, he got paid.
No, I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? Are you aware, or you indicated that you would have almost daily contact with Mr. Garcia, correct?
Yes, sir.
You'll agree with me that one of the things that he did to make money would be to buy and sell cars, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember how many cars he's bought and sold?
No, not at all.
Would it be more than one?
Yeah.
More than five?
Shit, I don't remember.
The government showed you a picture of a 1986 Monte Carlo, a purple one, correct?
Yes, sir.
How much did he pay for that car? Do you remember?
They no more than $3,000.
So around $3,000. And how much did he pay for that motorcycle?
Like 38, $4 grand around there.
You don't remember?
Like 38 or $4 grand between.
Yeah, C. Malone, Wendy's sensuous, according to Lacasse, although he doesn't come across as a Casanova. Yeah, but Lacasse also said that she doesn't slum at all. You know, she's hypersexual, but only in the upper crust, the stuffed crust. Okay. Okay. There's an image.
And it's your testimony that he gave you 37,000 out of 100?
Yes, sir.
Did you deposit any of that money in the bank?
Nope.
Did you declare any of that money on your taxes?
Nope.
Do you know how the money was given to you?
Cash.
Cash?
Yes, sir.
$100 bills, right?
Yes, sir.
Stapled together?
Yes, sir.
And it was your testimony that the day after the murder that my client and Ms. McManawa were at Jessica's house, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did Jessica know about the murder?
No, sir. Not at all.
So they did the money drop off at her house, right?
Yes, sir.
So in essence, at that point, you'll agree with me, Jessica now knew what was going on.
Not at all.
You just showed up and you got, would you normally get large amounts of cash like that?
No, sir.
How much would you make on when you would do one of your jacks?
It depends.
10, 15, 20,000?
Yes, sir.
You don't consider that to be a large amount of cash?
Yes.
What's the most money you've ever made doing a robbery?
I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. Is this the most amount of money you've ever made? And what?
Objection, Your Honor.
I overruled objection to that question.
Is this the most amount of money you've ever made in one setting?
No, sir.
No, sir? Okay. So this is not something that Jessica wrote. This is your wife, right? Your living girlfriend, your baby mama?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So did she ever ask you where you got this money?
She never asked me nothing.
And that's because she knows that you have a code of silence, right?
Yes, sir.
Yet you exposed her, according to your testimony, to this cash exchange. Was that normal?
Repeat that again?
Sure. You exposed her to this money exchange, right?
What do you mean by exposure?
She was there,
She was there.
right?
She never seen the money though.
So they gave you a paper bag?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And she didn't see you taking, I mean, the $100 bills were stapled together, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So did she see you taking the staples out of everything?
No, sir.
No.
Not
You went
at
to a
all.
separate room?
Nope.
I think the most interesting thing about this cross-examination is the lack of any clear, cogent, direction where he's just listing off what happened. He's not like questioning or doubting. I mean, he tried to put in this thing about were you serving Charlie Adelson cocaine, and the judge just shut that down. I think he was, and now he's struggling to find the side of the pool, lost in his own. Just it's possibly one of the worst cross-examinations if you score it against how important it is for his client. If it's not important, just throw away or don't ask questions or what, I mean, who cares? It's not an important witness, but this is the most important witness of the case.
I left in my car. Grabbed the money and left.
Did you give any of this money to Jessica Rodriguez?
I gave her a few dollars, but she didn't know where it come from. She didn't. Nothing.
Obviously, you don't want to get Jessica in trouble, right?
She don't know nothing. Why would I get in trouble?
But I'm just asking in general. You wouldn't want her to get in trouble, correct?
I never tell her nothing.
Did Jessica? Okay, so you took a plea in this case to 19 years, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you're not going to serve 19 years in Florida State Prison, right?
Maybe, maybe not.
Well, the answer is not, because your plea was to 19 years to run at the same time as your 151-month sentence in federal court, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here, 19 times 12 is 228. Minus 151 is 77. Divided by 12 is 6.4 years. So you're going to spend less than 6.5 years in Florida State Prison, correct?
If I do all my time in the feds. If I don't, I got to do more time in the state.
Your plea agreement, what we're talking about, not whether or not you get additional time or less time, but what you've agreed with the government, that's what I'm talking about, okay?
Yes, sir. I'm just explaining.
Okay, well, I'm asking what your plea agreement is. Your plea agreement is what you agreed to with the government, correct?
Yes, sir. I said 19.
19. So as we agreed, did you sit down and go over your plea agreement with your attorney? You did that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and he read all the portions of the plea agreement to you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you began plea negotiations with the government probably in September of 2016?
Yeah.
And you were arrested, or you were charged, because you were already in prison, right?
Yes, sir.
So you were charged in, was it May or June of 2016?
I think it was June.
It was June, right? Because you'll remember that law enforcement came to federal prison to talk to you in May of 2016, correct?
Yeah.
And when they first asked you about this, you'll agree with me that you denied any involvement, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then from June to September, about 3 months, right?
Yeah.
You decided to become a cooperating witness with the state of Florida, correct?
Yes,
okay. Did the government make you the 19-year offer before they spoke to you?
Did they make me?
Let me ask the question, sir. Did the government come and tell you, we're going to offer you 19 years? Or did they sit down and talk to you and then make you that offer?
No, they didn't sit down and talk to me at all.
So at no point did you have any communication with the prosecutor?
At all.
That communication went through your attorney, correct?
Yes, sir.
Prior to the October 4th statement that you gave that's videotaped,
Yes, sir.
did you have communication with law enforcement that was not memorialized by video?
Say that again.
Sure. Did you've seen the video, right? The October 4th video?
I ain't really had no, I ain't see nothing. I was in a box. So I never got to see no videos or none of that.
Well, let me ask it this way. Was there ever a time, okay, prior to the recording, where law enforcement asked you questions that went through your attorney, okay, and he came and discussed those questions?
Yeah, see, Malone, I just don't know where you're getting this, dude. It's, I don't know. I've never seen any indication or any suggestion or anything to support what it is that you're seeing. Sorry. Wendy having a tryst with Luis Rivera. I mean, I don't know why that would happen, or I mean, no, I don't think so. You're barking up the wrong tree, but that's okay. Bark away, bark away.
Questions with you, and then you told your attorney the answers, and then he would go back and tell the police.
Yes, sir.
So your attorney acted as like a mediator, okay, between law enforcement and you, right?
Oh, law enforcement would be with me in there. And I talk with my lawyer.
That's not what I asked you.
But you got me confused, man. Come back.
Okay. Law enforcement.
Hey, Neverly, darling. Yeah, absolutely. Wendy would have been totally heavily laying it on thick for this student that kissed her on the mouth. And she probably initiated it. I mean, absolutely. I can see her doing that all day long, but just not with Luis Rivera. You know, yeah, people in her office, students, professors, the dean. You know, I bet bagging a dean for Wendy is like that's like you know, a trophy. She collects those. She collects deans of universities in their office on their mahogany desk.
Was there a time where you were in separate rooms with law enforcement and you were alone with your attorney?
Not law enforcement. He was in the room.
Your attorney was in the room?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the police would come and talk to your attorney, and then he would come alone with you and have discussions, correct?
No, the cop was in the room as well.
Okay. Were you at the open table, or were you isolated and having a private conversation with your lawyer?
No, it was an open table. My lawyer, well, if I have a conversation with my lawyer, it's between me and my lawyer. But the detective was there.
Okay. Do you remember giving a deposition on January 31st, 2018? You remember me taking your deposition?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And you remember when I asked you, where prior to the recording, law enforcement, page number, I apologize, 119 lines 11 to 15. Where I asked you, where prior to the recording, law enforcement asked questions that went through your attorney.
Yeah, Christine. So in Jeffrey Lacasse's interview with law enforcement, when he is going through potential suspects, the cops are asking him, you know, he's saying to the cops, look, Wendy has guys under her spell all over the place. and they're saying, is there anyone that's like really obsessed with her that might have shot Professor Markel? And he's just brainstorming with the cops, basically. And Lacasse mentions that Wendy sent him an email about this student incident that apparently had kissed her on the mouth inappropriately. And he's not suggesting that that would have been the killer, but he's just giving the cops all information he knows, and that was one of the pieces of information he knew. And I believe he forwarded the email to the cops. So, but yeah, I'm totally. Who said it in the chat? I think it was Neverly Darling. I'm totally sold that Wendy laid it on thick with this student, was flirting all over the place, giving all the signals of sexual intrigue, and basically invited that action.
And he came and discussed them with you, and then you told your attorney the answers, and he would go back and tell the police officers, and you answered, yes, sir. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
Objection, improper impeachment.
Overruled.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I asked you was, because what I asked you in that question, it appears that the answer is, well, strike that. Was this the same day as the recording? Do you remember?
What recording?
The October 4th recording. Do you recall if this is the same day?
Yeah.
And you'll agree with me that there are portions of your interaction, according to your own words, that were not memorialized on video, correct?
That it wasn't recorded?
Right.
I don't know if it was recorded or not.
Did they tell you at some point we're turning the camera on?
I believe every time I talk to any detective, it's getting recorded.
Now, between end of September and your statement, you took a ride down I-75 with the police, correct?
Yes, sir.
And during your
Oh, hey guys, along with our 500 subscriber milestone reached, we have some other news to share. I promised I'd give a special shout out to Matt Sherwood, who bought us 5 cups of coffee on buymeacoffee.com/truecrimemetrics. Yeah, so Matt Sherwood, special thanks to you and all of your merry men. Say hello to the Sheriff of Nottingham. And he says, you're a legend, mate. Keep up the great work. Well, that was just so nice from Matt Sherwood to take the time. I didn't even remember that we'd set up a page on buymeacoffee.com. But if anyone else would like to buy us some coffee, I mean, we do drink a lot of coffee. But no, it's really appreciated, Matt, and I promise to give you a special mention on the show. So thank you so much for your generosity. Okay, roll tape, please. This is Mr. Hand Grenade's next big play. The whole were you selling cocaine to Charlie Adelson thing didn't work out. So now it's, yeah, so on the 7-hour drive down to the bridge where you tossed the gun, they didn't give you prison food, right? They got you a McDonald's. And his whole angle is like, yeah, because they got you a McDonald's, they told you to say it was Sigfredo. And it's like, I don't know, man. To me, I'd rather have the prison food than McDonald's. Jesus Christ, you know what's in that stuff? Bad things. Okay, prison food's probably worse, but McDonald's ain't much better. Okay, sometimes the French fries are, they can be okay. But only because they're covered in addictive drugs. Oh, guys, can everybody hear? No. So can you hear me? Can you hear the video? Give us some feedback, guys. Okay, good. And you can hear the video too, right? Oh, okay. All right, let's sort that out right now. Okay, let's stop sharing. And then so nice to have the feedback, guys. Okay, testing.
So you're not answering my question. My
No.
question was,
You back?
I said no.
I'm sorry?
Ask him another question. Ask him a.
I guess.
You guessed. I mean, they showed you. We found a gun, right?
No, nobody showed me nothing.
Didn't they? But you know that they found a firearm there, right?
I heard they found a gun.
You guys got the audio from the courtroom now?
Did they show you that gun to see if that you recognize the gun to be
No,
the gun in
sir.
this case?
No, sir.
Is that did you just take law enforcement to a known dumping ground for Latin kings to dump firearms?
Latin Kings.
You're a Latin king.
Why you keep saying Latin Kings? They ain't got nothing to do with this. You're wrong. You're wrong, man. This ain't got nothing to do with no Latin Kings.
So
It
you're
got to
not
do with me, Garcia. No Latin Kings.
So you're not answering my question. My
No.
question
Ask him
was,
a straightforward question.
I said no.
Look at that.
I'm sorry?
Ask him another question. Ask him a straightforward question, not an argumentative one.
God, that judge gets riled up, doesn't he? Ask him another question, not an argumentative question. Do it now.
Give me just 1 second that I just received it. Your Honor, may I approach?
No?
Mr. Rivera, I'm showing you what's been marked as defense exhibit B. You recognize that?
Yeah,
What is that?
that's a letter.
Who sent this letter?
I did.
And does that have your signature on it?
Yes, sir.
And who did you send this letter to?
Mr. Georgia.
Is this letter in the same condition that it was when you originally sent it?
Probably.
Does it look any different? Does it look altered in any way?
No.
Judge, at this time, the defense moves was previously marked as defense exhibit 3 in the evidence.
Okay.
Just my general objection to them introducing evidence during my case in chief, Judge.
No specific objection.
No, Your Honor.
Let me see the exhibit.
Yes, Judge.
What does that mean? Georgia just said him introducing evidence during my case in chief. What is case in chief?
I'll admit, Garcia, defense exhibit 3.
Yeah, not being able to talk down to Danny, to Professor Markel. Well, yeah, totally. That must have annoyed the shit out of her, right? And she dresses that up, of course, as him not treating her as an equal. Well, hello, sweetheart. You're not an equal on the intellectual or educated field. You're a subordinate. And, he got to where he was in his career by working and commitment and dedication and a passion. She might be a good book study, but ultimately she knew how to manipulate people that would put her in positions of power, or before she learned those skills, just had her father give some free dentist work to get her a scholarship or whatever. I mean, it's all sneaky, backhand, backdoor deals, sweetheart deals. She knows this and she's insecure about it. That's why she's such a crazy, cutthroat person.
Mr. Rivera, that says November 3rd, 2016, right? The numbers up there are consistent. That's the day you sent this letter?
Yes, sir.
And that letter's addressed to Ms. Kappelman, who's the state attorney in this case, this young lady right here.
Yes, sir.
This was a letter that you intended to send her, correct?
Yes, sir.
And whose signature is this down here?
It's mine.
And it says in this letter that since you made a plea deal with the government and you told them everything they wanted to know.
Yeah, Mr. Hand Grenade. Carol, thanks so much, babe. We love you too. And your message that I saw today was that you sent a really long message. Really good content there. I've saved that. What did you say? It was all about. Oh, yeah, check this, guys. So we got a message today about how it's probably Wendy who is still controlling Sigfredo and getting him to put the hit out on her brother Charlie to stop him from running his mouth when he's had enough of sitting in solitary confinement, and the ball drops for him where it's going to be like, okay, this is it. There's going to be no Ferrari. There's going to be no hot Asian administrative worker at my dental office that I can harass. There's going to be no nice lunch at a restaurant with tablecloths ever again. There's going to be no stepping out onto the boat and doing lines of cocaine off a 12-year-old prostitute's buttock. in Colombia or Honduras or whatever. None of that. And it's just me in this concrete box until I die. You know, he's going to run his mouth. He's going to justify it in his head somehow and say it was all her fault. She went and drove to Trescott, so it's her fault I'm in here, which means she needs to be in here too.
And you helped break the case, right? Correct?
Yes, sir.
That you've been in confinement 7 days a week, 3 hours a week to call your family. And that you want to go to general pop, correct?
Yes, sir.
Should I have another exhibit if I may approach Mr. Rivera?
Amen.
Mr. Rivera, do you recognize, I'm showing you what's been previously marked as government's exhibit, Garcia's Exhibit 4. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, sir.
Is that a letter that you wrote to Ms. Kaplan?
Yes, sir.
Is that letter in the same or substantially the same condition as it was when you first sent it?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature in the bottom right-hand corner?
Yes, sir.
Judge, at this time, I move what's previously been marked as Garcia's Exhibit 4 in the evidence.
Any specific objection?
Yes, Your Honor, hearsay and cumulative.
Let me see the letter.
Yes, Judge.
Yeah, Carol, it's going to be pretty interesting if we hear news someday, possibly someday soon, that, Charlie Adelson was found dead in his cell and a bone was broken in his neck. And, and there's so much more to come on this story. It's like one of those movies where you feel you've reached the conclusion, that it's the end of the movie. It's all wrapping up. The story's finished. And then there's another, like, 2/3 of the movie to go where it goes into a whole other thing. I think LA Confidential did that. I can't really think of any others off the top of my head, but it happens. And this case, this long, long case, this multiple trials, and all sorts of new information comes out in each. It's just the case that keeps on giving. But, ultimately what it should be giving is justice to the Markels, and the releasing of those boys' souls. And it'll be great to hear one day that Ben and Lincoln have changed their name back to Markel, won't it? Won't that just be brilliant? I hope that happens.
I'll overrule the objection. Admit that.
Thank you, Judge. And Mr. Garcia, I'm sorry, Mr. Rivera, this letter went directly from you to Ms. Kaplan, correct?
Yes, sir.
You didn't send it to your attorney, correct?
No.
In this letter, in essence, you want to get out of confinement, right?
Yes, sir.
And then the reason why you said that you were in confinement was because you helped the government, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, show me what's been marked as government's, I'm sorry, Defense Exhibit 4, Garcia 4. That's another letter you sent the same day, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you wrote, whose name is that?
Her name,
What's her name?
Capricorn,
What's her first name?
Georgia.
Did you write this letter?
Somebody wrote it for me. I just rewrote it.
I'm sorry?
Somebody wrote the letter and I rewrote it.
So that's your actual handwriting?
Yeah.
And in this letter, what's the first sentence say?
Somebody wrote it for me, sir.
Right.
I can't read it.
You can't read it?
No, I had somebody write it for me. And he's the one that told me about it. He wrote it for me. And I just rewrote it and sent it out.
Well, let me read this.
You don't need to read it. It's in evidence. Move on, Mr. Zengeneh.
Well,
Move on. I said, move on.
yes, sir.
We've done this. No, put the letter down.
You testified yesterday that as a result of your cooperation, your life would be in danger, correct?
Yes, sir.
That as a result of you cooperating with the government in this case, that they were going to kill you, right?
They're trying it right now.
I'm sorry?
They're trying to do it right now.
You're here, right?
Talking to you, yes.
And those two letters that you sent this cattleman, you're asking to be put back in general population, correct?
Yes, sir.
Out of the SHU, out of protective custody.
Yes, sir.
Give me a second. Mr. Rivera, who wrote that letter for you?
The inmate.
You remember the inmate's name?
No, sir.
That inmate was in, I assume he was in the SHU in November of 2016?
Yes, sir.
I see you guys talking about the $5,000 that Sigfredo and Luis had for travel expenses, compared with what Katie said on the stand, is she was given $200 for expenses, or $300. You should check out Grish's channel. He's got a whole video of a possible way that there could have been multiple routes to giving Sigfredo and Luis money to travel, because $200 to go to Tallahassee and back, get a gun, have a hotel, is ridiculous. I mean, what's that going to get you? That's no travel money at all. That's like travel money around Miami for an afternoon. But they don't even really need $5,000, but I guess it's just like, well, take it and take the money. I mean, but yeah, so check out Grish's channel, Grisch.
Remember what pod you were in?
G-Pod.
G-pod, okay. On July 14th, 2014, you rented the Prius and came up to Tallahassee?
We're not going to start repeating testimony, Mr.
I
Zengeneh.
apologize.
Go to something new.
Where did you stay?
We've done that. Move on. Something new, Mr. Zengeneh.
On the day in question, what time did you start following Mr. Markel?
This is something new, I said, Mr. Zengeneh.
Do you remember what time you got to Premier Fitness?
Repeat that again?
Sure. Mr. Markel went to the gym, right?
Yes, sir.
You know what time you got to the gym?
No.
Were you following Mr. Markel from the daycare to the gym?
Yes, sir.
And it's your testimony that you were in the car with Mr. Garcia?
Yes, sir.
You weren't in the car with another Latin king?
No, sir. You bring this Latin king back and forth, man. You got my life in jeopardy right now just because. And yesterday you told me about the same thing. Where's my location at? My life is in jeopardy, even worse now, because now they know where I'm at. And that's protected custody.
So the answer to my question?
He answered your question. Do you have another question, Mr. Zengeneh?
I do. How far behind Mr. Markel were you when he pulled into the gym?
To the gym?
Yeah. To Premier.
Yeah, Christine, this judge is brutal. I don't think I've ever seen a judge ride an attorney so hard without even, George is not even having to make objections. The judge is taking care of business. But it seems a little a little hostile. I think a good appellate attorney would slam this judge, but I guess Judge is it Hankinson is really comfortable. He looks like he's been a judge for the past 50 years. He wrote the Constitution himself, and it's
A few cars down for him.
So you were, let's say, 100 feet behind him?
Like two cars from me behind him.
2 cars? Would you say 5 seconds behind him?
Yeah.
And you pulled into the parking lot
Yes, sir.
and you testify, well, at any point did you or Sigfredo Garcia get out of the Prius?
I ain't get up the Prius at all.
Did Mr. Garcia get out of the Prius to urinate
Yes, sir.
in the Premier parking lot?
Yes, sir.
Where were you parked when you did that?
Almost towards the street by a bush.
Was the parking lot empty or full?
I had cars around.
And by having cars around it, you mean there were?
You know what I mean? It's like, was the parking lot empty or full? Okay. This is a first-degree murder trial, man. That's your question? Was the parking lot empty or full? How many leaves were in the tree that you parked under, Mr. Rivera? Was it cloudy that day?
A lot of cars around it?
Yes, sir.
And will you agree that there are people constantly coming in and out of the gymnasium?
Yes, sir.
And did you see someone who worked as, I don't know if there's security, but there was personnel or someone that was working on staff walking around the parking lot?
I don't remember.
Was it your plan that morning to commit the murder?
My plan?
Yes.
No.
Was this another surveillance day?
For the murder? The day of the murder? That's another day.
I'm sorry?
It's another day.
Was it your plan when you woke up in the morning that that was the day you were going to commit the murder?
No, it was not my plan. We woke up and went to do what we got to do.
You had not called or you had not heard anybody call saying today we're going to commit the murder, correct?
No.
After Mr. Markel leaves the gym and you follow him, you pull out, when you see him pulling towards his neighborhood, you pull into another direction, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because you don't want him to be seeing you behind him, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you pull up into 2116 Trescott Ave, right behind his car that's in the garage.
Yes, sir.
And that's where Mr. Markel's killed.
Yes, sir.
And it's your testimony that you are not the shooter.
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody else that could testify to who the shooter is?
But that's not an appropriate question, Mr. Zengeneh.
Is there anybody else in the car with you?
Garcia's in the car with me.
Anybody other than Garcia?
Nobody else.
So you'll agree that you're the only person that can
Let's go
testify.
sidebar, please.
Luis Rivera is just the definition of unfazed. Look at him, rubbing his head, rubbing the palms of his hands together, just, he's ADHD looking around. I mean,
I was hoping we could find a stopping point, but I guess we're going to need to take a break. We'll let y'all step out 15 minutes. Everybody be seated. Mr. Zengeneh, do you wish to refresh the witness's recollection as to any issues?
Because I'm going to withdraw my last question.
Okay, but
I'll do that anyway.
I've moved on to something different. I'm sorry. Do you wish, I said we'd give you an opportunity at the end of cross-examination to refresh his recollection if you desire, by reading to him what it is you wish to use to refresh. If we're going to do that, let's do it now.
Let me take a look at my notes, Judge.
All right.
where has he gone now? I swear to God, this Mr. Hand Grenade, he just makes himself look busy when he's nervous. He's running back to the table. Let me take a look at my notes, Judge. There's nothing on that paper. It's a blank sheet of paper. You can see it. Look, there's no writing. Let me take a look at my notes. Hey, Christine. I think Ekaterina is late to the party. She started the video from the beginning. Welcome, Ekaterina. And enjoy the show, no matter how late you are.
When we take a break, get Joanna to help me with that. It was working. It's been working for a week and a half. But she came and fixed it the other day. It was just that the volume was turned down. We'll get her to do it. It turned out there was user error. Okay. I understand, but it's been working. So there's something you're doing that's making it not work. So, okay.
Yeah, Running Bird, I don't think I would trust these guys to paint my house, let alone take out a hit on, some well-liked, well-known professional person. I wouldn't trust these guys with a paintbrush. Look at them. You'd say paint that wall and they'd knock it down.
But Joanna's the one that helped it fix it.
Okay, well, we got to wrap up. Mr. Hand Grenade's cross tonight. So let's move on. Move right on to where's okay. How do we find the next video? McBanner was attorney. Tallahassee Democrat, you've let us down, man. There can't be much left. Hey, look, there's us. That's the other trial. Part 1. Well,
Voo para mais de 80 destinos.
Didn't you?
no, that's Magbanawa. Okay, well, I don't think we can get Garcia's attorney cross Rivera, Luis Rivera. He's been on for a day and a half already. Rivera. Yeah, it doesn't look like there is his final portion. Oh, this one maybe. Oh no, that's the verdict. There is no final portion.
You gave her $2,000 in the long deficit.
And how would you use them?
Well, it's not like he was going to do much anyway. So I think we're done with Mr. Hand Grenade now, guys. Which, let me have a look at the stream here. Yeah, we're going to have to wrap it up for tonight, guys, because I don't want to start Catherine Magbanowa's attorneys up next. We've got Tara Kawas coming in tomorrow to question Luis Rivera, who, for her money, does a bit of a better job than Mr. Hand Grenade. And, you know, I think all of us like something about Tara Kawas's style, even if it's not appropriate for Tallahassee, and even if it's not as quite as made of substance as it might appear with her quick talking flair and her Jamaican accent. Did you have your gun with you when you went in to kill Professor Markel? You know, she's both Christopher DeCoasts. But you know what's going to happen soon is, okay, so tomorrow we will be doing the Tara Kawas cross-examination of Luis Rivera from the 2019 murder trial. Then we might get the opportunity to finish up with Georgia Kappelman's redirect, which should be quite good. And that will conclude our 2019 portion of Luis Rivera's testimony, which means the next time we'll be seeing him is for the 2022 trial of Catherine Magbanowa, her retrial. And then again, so we've got quite a lot to get through. This is going to take the rest of the week, guys. And it's a little dry. I'm really looking forward to going on to some more interrogation and interview footage rather than trial testimony, because I keep saying it over and over again. There's not much room to come in and comment, you know. I think there will be as we move closer to Charlie Adelson's trial, and surely Christopher DeCoaster is going to put on a damn good show, because he always does. I think when we're done with Luis Rivera, we've done all of the Wendy Adelson testimonies from all three trials. If you haven't checked that out already, guys, see it on the channel page. I think what we'll do after Luis Rivera, because we'll have done Wendy, we'll have done Luis, and those are two really important witnesses that have been in all three trials. But next, we might do a couple of the smaller players, Shadrach Nobles and Jessica Rodriguez. We might also have a look at June Umchinda, because she's got some really funny moments, you know, in all three trials. She's another little sweet treat of this case. Yeah, and there's loads more to come. We might have a look at General Isom on the stand when he's finally come to his senses and not under the spell of his wannabe niece, granddaughter, daughter, Wendy Adelson, trying to be a papa, trying to be a good Southern papa to a psycho. So make sure you're all subscribed to the channel, guys. Like, share, leave a comment. Yeah, and like I said, we've passed our 500 subscriber milestone, so we're going to be releasing some extra stuff, some great t-shirt designs that you've all been dying to see, I'm sure. But seriously, I think they're going to be shockingly good. I think they're going to sell well. I'm not exactly how that works. If you want to buy us a coffee, guys, we got a very nice gift from Matt Sherwood, who bought us 5 cups of coffee on buymeacoffee.com/true crime metrics. Every little counts, guys. And yeah, the more time that we can put into the channel, the better. I mean, early days, and we do everything on the fly. We have no time to prepare. No time. We just open it up and see what happens. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes we hit the rocks, but that's the nature of life, and that's how we like it. So that's what's coming next, guys. And thank you all to you guys in the comments. Beautiful as ever. Special mention to Carol Johansson. Sorry, Carol Johansson has been a dynamite in the comments, along with Neverly Darling and Christine Green. Shaking it up in the comments box, Christine. Like it, love it. And yeah, we will catch you guys tomorrow, same time, 1/2 too sweet to be sour, Eastern Standard, 5:30 p.m. I know that's kind of a rough time, but we're like 5 hours behind or in front. I never know which way that goes. So, you know, it's what we can do for now. Okay, yeah, all right. Thanks, guys, and we will, Eastern Standard, EST, Neverly, EST, not Eastern Central, Eastern Standard. We're going on the Eastern Seaboard. I just think that's where everyone lives, isn't it? 60% of our audience are in the States, so we're covering, everywhere from Maine to Miami. We got New York. We got Atlanta. We got Raleigh. We got Washington. We got friggin' Myrtle Beach. Running Bird, great to see you. California, okay. Pacific, yeah. We got a shout out to 544 Camp Street. We're going to be doing a collaboration with you soon, Leo. And yeah, just as soon as we find the time, believe me, man, we're looking forward to it. We're coming on the show, and then you can come on our show, and we can all share ideas and become wiser people. Okay. So that'll be great. And yeah, someone go and get Fancy Fiction, because, why isn't she here? She must be jealous. That's what it is. Alabama, Deep South. Okay, Christine, nice to know. Birmingham or Montgomery? See, I got knowledge. Okay. Yeah, nice to know. Alabama. Wicked. What do they do down there? Mud pie. There we go, Birmingham. All right, closing it off, guys. Thank you all. Wazoo, Mississippi. God, we got a lot of South, huh? Or is that, if I got that wrong? Where's Wazoo? Washington State. Wow. Say hello to Tacoma. And what else is in, everybody says Seattle. Tacoma and Tacoma's the only one I know. Yeah, we know you, Miwayo, Vancouver. Oh, it's really cool to know where everybody's from. Okay, all you southern people, be careful of the catfish and be careful of what else is there? Catfish and alligators. Serbia. Wow. I was born in the USSR. Where am I? I'm in Portugal, baby. Yeah, I'm in the south of Portugal, which if I head directly east, I do reach Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Okay, we'll see you all tomorrow, guys. Be there. Bye-bye.